Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're asked to sketch the graph of the absolute value of x over the interval -1 to 4. So you can make a data table if you're not sure what the absolute value looks like, but if you plug in x equals -1, you get out y equals 1. It starts there. And if you plug in x equals 0, you get y is 0. If you plug in x is 1, you get y is 1. If you plug in x is 2, you should get y is 2, because we're taking the absolute value. So it should look something like this. They want us to shade the region above the x-axis, which means they want us to shade between this curve and the x-axis like this. So that's a sketch of the graph. Makes two triangles. And they want us to find the area between the x-axis and the graph using rectangles. The rectangles use square units, approximate both above and below. Okay, so let me see if I can change my color here. There we go. So if I'm going to do above, then I'm drawing squares so that I cover all the shaded area. And if I'm going to have an error, because a square isn't going to perfectly cover this area, if I have an error, it's going to overestimate. It's going to cover above it. So this first square is 1 across, 1 up. So there's 1 there. And that's an overestimate. That's what they'd say is above the lines. And for x is 1, 2, here we'll label this 2, 3. I put -4. I don't know why I did that. From x is 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's another square here. And then for 2, there's this full square here. And then we go up another square until we get to y equals 2. You'll see it's just making the same pattern. So for the shaded area, we got 1, 2, and then we're overestimating again. It's another square. And from between x is 3 and x is 4, we've got 1 square, 2 square of area, 3 squares of area. There's a 4th square. My drawing is bad. I think that's my problem. I'm just trying to think. At x is 4, we're at y is 4. Yeah, so my drawing is just bad. I think you have the WebAssign drawing to help you. So that will be exact. Mine, I think my 4th square, it just looks like a rectangle, but it's supposed to be an overestimate. If you add those up, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the one from the left, it's 11. That's our overestimate. And then an underestimate would mean you draw squares, but you refrain from drawing a square if it covers anything above your curve. So I'm not going to draw a square for this half a square area over here. Same thing over here, no square there. I'm just drawing a square here. Only squares that fit below the curve. So this one covers above, this one covers above, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And then use geometry to find the exact answer. These are triangles, right? So this triangle is 1 across, 1 up. So that's 1/2 times base times height. So that's 1/2 of that triangle on the left. This triangle here is 4 across, 4 up. So it's 1/2 base times height. So we've got, actually, that's 16 divided by 2 is 8. So that's 8.5. But I think WebAssign wants it as an improper fraction. So that's 17/2. WebAssign says 8.5, which is 17/2.